When you book a Best Western hotel, every booking supports proudly independent hotels. Booking real good.
Welcome back to Headingley Stadium for the second episode of Box 2, where this week I'll be catching up with Leeds Rhinos and England wheelchair captain and World Cup winner Tom Halliwell. Welcome back to Box 2 for this week's weekly roundup in partnership with Best Western's Hotel GB. Tom Halliwell, how are you, mate? You've just started with the Leeds Rhinos Foundation, going into schools, teaching Wheelchair Rugby League. How's that going?
Really well. Started at start of February and first month involved, so I've been pretty busy. So I won't change it for the world. I've loved it. Loved my time at Leeds as a player, and now to be able to give back to the community, I think it's probably the best job ever. So yeah, I'm loving it.
What does that look like, bringing wheelchairs into schools? Do you have to take smaller ones? Are they adapted? It's a big ask, isn't it, to take that sort of amount of equipment in?
Yeah, it was just getting the processes getting started at the moment. So it's getting a van, taking all the chairs in, unloading all the chairs in, getting into schools, and as soon as you're in there, it's just the packing away. That's the hard part. But as soon as you're in there, it's all good. All the kids are in the chairs and enjoying it and pushing around and having fun. So that's the main thing. That's
what it's all about: having fun, enjoying yourself with your friends. Let's go back to the game against Hull FC on Friday night. Didn't quite get the result that we wanted, unfortunately, but it was a better performance. There was some intensity and some intent, certainly in defence, wasn't there?
Yeah, 1000%. If you wanted a fight back from the game against Warrington, I think we definitely got that against Hull, and it's just the little tiny details that need to be fixed, which is not big a stress. You can work that out on the training field, which probably will do that this week, and hopefully we can get a win next week against Saints.
Certainly do. I definitely do hope we get a win this week against Saints. What an opportunity that is. But before we talk about that, some standout performers. Number one for me, Cam Smith. Now I stood in one of the long bars there with Johnny Bairstow, and he pointed out Cam Smith as somebody who's excelling, and it's interesting, he knows a lot more about rugby league than I know about cricket, so it's very much rugby league centric. But Cam Smith is really filling that 13 shirt. It's a big shirt to fill. Not so sure about the haircut, looks a little bit like Jimmy White to me, but he's playing well, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's just got given that freedom to be able to do what he can do. Yeah. He's a very skillful player, and I think now he's be able to unlock a few of those tricks. He's definitely got a pass in his game. He can run with the ball, and he's got that late deceiving footwork, which sometimes puts defenders off. And I think he's definitely someone that could potentially be an England international for me.
Without a doubt. And he's big boy as well. He gets stuck in the middle.
Surprisingly really strong.
He is. It's interesting the amount of ball distribution that goes through him. He's got some of the best hands in the club, without a doubt. When you watch people like Cam Smith, because I think about Wheelchair Rugby League and how defined it is in that every role slightly different. You're that type of person in the middle that distributes that ball and puts on the plays and has a bit of grunt as well. Do you take any inspiration from players like Cam Smith?
I probably think the best thing that I could probably take from Cam is when you have the ball, you're a running threat first.
Yeah.
You're a running threat first, so then when you have you take the ball forward, and if a pass is on, and Cam's got the ability to be able to do that and pass the ball. So yeah, it's probably the running game and also the passing game that I'll probably take from Cam, yeah.
We're talking about running threats. Justin Sangare, wow. When he's running on them arrow shapes inside and outside the halfbacks, and he's being direct, busting tackles, falling on his front, getting the offloads, put Cruz Lehman over for his try this week. This week and last week on his debut, he's been very good, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's just a big, powerful body. I wouldn't like to be tackling him, to be honest. If he were running in front of me, I'd probably get my inside man to be able to help me out with him. But yeah, he's been doing really well and very powerful. Running threat, going forward with the ball, and especially running those arrow lines is a massive threat and a big body. And I think he's something that we definitely need to add a bit of size to our pack and get us going forward. I think he's been very good in his first two games.
Talking about running threats as well, Nene McDonald. There's this Papua New Guinea duo with him and Reece Martin. I reckon there's a story in there somewhere, and we might get them into box 2 one time in the future. But certainly with Fussy Tua as well out on the edge, that right edge looks like a big threat going forward.
Yeah. Big, powerful, strong, agile right side. Nene sort of reminds me of the Joe Moon days, the sort of flair that he had. I think Nene sort of brings that as well, and you saw a glimpse of what he can do, and I think he's going to be an excellent signing for us, and I can't believe no other top side went for him, but yeah, I think we've got a good gem on our hands in there, and then
He's super. Look forward to seeing his season develop as time goes on. Right then, Wheelchair Rugby League. We're going to talk about St Helens with the world champions pretty soon, but you are a real world champion, mate, winning a World Cup. What did that feel like to get that win, having prepared for it for so long?
It just felt like a massive weight off all of our shoulders, to be honest. You work so hard for it, especially probably from 17 when we narrowly lost and missed out on winning it on French soil. And ever since then, it was sort of like it were a burden on us. It sort of like it was like that fire inside. Like we have to win. Yeah. There's no losing this. So for the 5 years that we had to wait for it, we worked so hard, tirelessly. Especially in COVID, we had Zoom calls every day, training with each other on Zoom calls, and I'm sure there'll be screenshots or photos somewhere of us on Zoom with everyone doing press-ups or making their own sort of wheelchair treadmill sort of thing and going around. And some of the lockdown trims that all the players had was just ridiculous. But when people ask me about my World Cup experience, I just say it's life-changing. Yeah. Life-changing. It's given me memories that I probably would never ever experience in any other walk of life apart from rugby league. So I'm forever grateful for the opportunity that the game's given me, and now obviously with my role with the foundation, I just want to give back to the sport that's given me so much so far at such a young age. I mean, only 23, but it's taken me to places that I wouldn't dream of, and yeah, I'm so grateful for that.
And we've had 25 players at training, a lot of new people coming through the door. It's exciting, isn't it, where it could go? Just tell us about who's been coming.
So to put it into perspective, last year we had 8 players in Leeds Rhinos Wheelchair at all. So just 8 players, and then ever since the World Cup and the Come and Try Me sessions that the foundation have been putting on for us, we've had 24 to 30 players coming down week in, week out, and it's been absolutely amazing seeing how much they've come on in such a short amount of time, because it probably took me a good 2 months to be able to get to where they are at now, and they've only been going for 4 weeks, and it's crazy.
Nice, really nice here, great set.
Just to articulate as well, Wheelchair Rugby League, it's so inclusive, isn't it?
Yeah.
So people with disabilities, people without disabilities. Just really quick, your story. If I understand it correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, you used to play obviously the running game for Ulton Raiders.
Yeah, Ulton, yeah.
And you played against Mikolaj Oledzki, who was at the Warriors. Was it in a tackle? He broke your leg? What happened there?
So I were at full-back at the time, and the ball got obviously kicked up, and I were at the back, and I can't remember if it were a bouncing ball or a catch on the full. But I remember as soon as I got the ball, looked up, Mikolaj was just stood square on in front of me and absolutely creamed me. And I don't know how, but I somehow managed to break my foot, broke it awfully. The funny image is the physio carried me off like a baby off the pitch, and then I went to hospital later, and they said, "Oh yeah, you're wheelchair bound for about 12 weeks." So as a young, healthy lad playing rugby, and you've been told you can't do that for 12 weeks and possibly never again if it doesn't heal properly. And it sort of shattered me at first, but thankfully I found Wheelchair and got involved.
And that's how he started. Then he was England captain, then he won a World Cup. Wow, how good is rugby league? Crazy stories. That's it's wonderful. Looking forward then to St Helens, massive task. Just turned Castleford over at the weekend there. So a lot of people think they're going to come back from a World Cup challenge, rest 1 or 2 and build steadily into the season, but they've gone all out there, got the win, obviously back at home at St Helens. What do we need to do to get a result there?
It'll be the first time they've been at home since obviously winning the World Cup championship, and I think we have to go over there and spoil the party, to be honest, and that's what I would be thinking, and that's what my message would be, is just spoil the party. It's going to be, all the fans will be celebrating them, they'll do a parade with the trophy and stuff like that, but why can't we go out there and ruin that and just spoil the party? That's what I'd like to do.
Did you take that mentality going in against the French in a World Cup final? Because it was going to be tight, wasn't it? When you look at it on paper, there wasn't much between the two teams. I always had the faith and the belief. Is that a big toll to take into a big game like we're going to have to do against St Helens?
Yeah, pretty much. It's quite strange. I remember speaking to Tom, the coach, before the game, and he was saying, "Are you all right? Are you all this?" And I was just so calm. I've probably that's the calmest I've ever been, like playing a game ever. I felt, oh, there's something wrong with me here, because I'm not pumped, I'm not over pumped, I'm not overhyped, and it's like probably the biggest game of my career, and I wasn't like over pumped, and I thought, right, something's wrong with me here. But I just knew we'd win. I don't know, but as a player, I think you go into games knowing, like big games, knowing you're going to win and you're not going to lose that day. And the World Cup final was just one of those experiences where I knew we were going to win, and how it panned out, obviously, with me scoring the winning try, I didn't picture that, but I just knew we'd win, and I had the faith in everyone, and we had everyone writing us off, saying the French were going to win, and French are too good, they're putting 70 on everyone and scoring tries for fun, and we just knew that we had the best team in the world, and we backed our ability and managed to win.
And took the opportunity, got the win, outstanding, world champions, nobody can ever take that away from you. I will say the crowd on Friday night was unbelievable again, all marching on together. It looked great here at the ground, it looked great on television. The fans have been awesome, they're keeping the faith, it's a big part of our mantra this year. They're going to travel really well, I'm sure, over at St Helens and get right behind the boys. Well, thank you very much for joining me again in Box 2. Looking forward to seeing you on the 10th of March when we take on Wakefield Trinity. The long bar is back open as well, so get yourself back across. Loads going on at Edinburgh. We'll be telling you right here exactly what that looks like. But in the meantime, keep smiling. All the very best. See you soon. God bless.